Hoiberg will launch the three. Oh, he hits!
Clobber to left field. Another double for Washington. This time it's Kresnak.
But no doubt, 2-run, go-ahead homer in the 7th. The backflip puts the exclamation mark on a comeback.
An RBI knock from Kresnak, who's had an incredible night.
Sam Hoiberg, the son of the coach, to steal the bucket.
Welcome to the sports section, episode 1. Thanks for being with us. Joined as always by former D1 athlete, my guy Nick Kresnak, and our point guard, Sam Hoiberg. I'm Matthew Mounsey. If you found your way here, you might know who these guys are. And if you're wondering who I am and why I'm making noise in your AirPods, I'm nobody. Just a 22-year-old broadcaster trying to make it in the sports world. And I know that we are really excited about this project because, like you, we love sports. And hopefully through this, we might be able to remind you why you fell in love with sports in the first place. And frankly, I think that sports media has kind of neglected the appreciation aspect and the greatness that sports fans desire. So if you're looking for hot takes or fake debates, you won't find it here. From here in Austin, Texas, to these guys in Northern California and Lincoln, Nebraska, this is us trying to do what sports have always done, to be a source of positivity and connection between fan bases and communities. So if you love sports, stick with us. We'll be dropping new episodes every Tuesday and Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, and maybe some extras sometimes if we feel like it. All right. Let's do it, fellas. I think that's probably the most serious that we'll get on this podcast. We'll start this show the same way that we do every show, with what we care about in sports today. Let's start with our point guard, Sam Hoiberg. Great to be with you, my man. What do you care about in sports today?
First off, super happy to be here. I'm pretty pumped about this pod. We're going to go to the moon here soon. I can feel it. But what I care about in sports today is college basketball starts tomorrow. Obviously, big day for me. We got our first game of the season, but not just for the Huskers. We got every team pretty much starting this week, and a very exciting time of the year. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no doubt. I know there's a lot of college hoops fans pumped out there. We'll get to college hoops in a little bit. Krez, what you got?
All right. What do I care about in sports today, baby? We're starting off with, obviously, the World Series wrapping up yesterday. Pretty insane 7-game series between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. Me personally, I did not expect that kind of series to come out of this, going 7 games. Thought the Dodgers were gonna get them done pretty early, but hey, the Blue Jays stuck in there. Pretty awesome series, and like I said, I just feel like towards the end, the Dodgers were making plays when they needed to, and the Blue Jays couldn't quite match it with that Dodgers starting pitching. So quite an awesome series, and just glad I got to witness it.
Yeah, that was nuts. I mean, Game 7 of a World Series, going to extra innings. I don't think I've seen that in my lifetime. That was probably the best World Series I think that we've gotten. Best 2 words in sports, Game 7. And I think we kind of thought that we'd be starting with college basketball, but after what a crazy weekend in sports it was, I think we kind of got to start with college football. I know, Sam, you were at the Huskers game, obviously not the result that Husker fans desired, but that atmosphere looked nuts. The blackout in Lincoln looked crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of the worry was you had so many traditional fans in Nebraska, and people didn't know if everyone would show up in black. You know, a lot of the older fans are kind of against going against their school colors because black isn't one of them, but the whole stadium was completely blacked out. They had the black balloons for the first score. I mean, it was unbelievable. Student section was just packed. I mean, it was one of the coolest events I've been to in any sport.
That looked so good. I don't remember ever seeing the Huskers wearing all black like that, and that was sick when they walked out to it and looked like the stadium was jumping. So I'm jealous you were there.
Yeah, I mean, they walked out to Back in Black by AC/DC, which, I mean, they've been doing the Tunnel Walk to Sirius, the same as the Chicago Bulls theme since way back when. So that was pretty crazy for them to switch it up. But, I mean, it was absolutely electric.
Yeah, and it seemed like USC really struggled on offense in the first half, and The injury to Dylan Raiola, really unfortunate. We saw today that he's been ruled out for the remainder of the season. Broken fibula, it looks like. Pete Thamel from ESPN reported that. And Raiola was looking good before he exited 10 for 15, 91 yards and a touchdown before that leg injury. And he was out dueling Jaden Maiyava from my perspective, at least. I kind of had it on in the background a little bit, but
I mean, the kid has got all the talent in the world. I lived with 3 football players last year: Nash Hutmaker, Isaac Gifford, and Nate Borkature. Um, and they were older guys. They didn't need to hype up Dylan. They could have, just thought he was another young guy, but they talked him up. They said he's got all the talent in the world. They saw him make plays in practice. I mean, they were talking about him being a Hall of Famer the summer he got there. But yeah, I mean, he obviously had a really good year. Really sucks he's not going to be here to finish the season, but we'll get to see the backup, TJ Lateef, who was very highly rated out of high school, and hopefully he can get more comfortable and maybe lead us some more wins. So there's
yeah,
still
it's
some
not,
hope
it's not-
left in the Huskers.
yeah.
For 7, he didn't break out many explosive plays, but he has played very well in some of the garbage time minutes early on in the season, and he's really mobile too, which Dylan, that's not his strong suit, so we could see a little bit of a different team going forward.
And I feel like nowadays having a mobile quarterback in college is huge. Obviously, like they're not running the pro style. If your quarterback can scramble and make plays outside the pocket, that's big time. So I like where your backup's headed at least.
Yeah, don't sleep on the Huskers to finish this season. We're gonna still go for those 9 wins.
The Huskers are 6-3 now, 3-3 in the Big Ten. I mean, that's nothing to spit at. And this game, I feel like, kind of turned into a running back battle. Emmett Johnson, 29 carries for a $165 and a tutty.
Yeah, I think it's the first 1,000-yard season since like 2018 for a Husker running back. That kid is unbelievable, man.
Yeah, I mean, I really think that this Nebraska offense is pretty special, and USC's offense has been really good this season, and the Nebraska defense kind of shut them down. I mean, they really didn't get anything going until the second half, but like you look at that second half for the Huskers, and after Raiola was pulled, they go punt, fumble, miss field goal, punt, turnover on downs to end the game.
Ben's doing right there.
Yeah, it's just the offensive momentum wasn't really there. King Miller went nuts for SC, 18 carries, a $129 and a touchdown. And Jaden Maiyava had his worst game of the season by far. 9 for 23 for 135 yards, no touchdowns, a pick. Did have 62 on the ground and a touchdown, but it was really the rushing attack from USC, I feel like. And to your point, Sam, the crowd, how hard is it to communicate in that building?
You can look back at some of the clips from Travis Hunter, I think on his podcast, talking about the Nebraska atmosphere. He said it was the loudest place he's ever played, and we completely stopped their offense that first half, and honestly the entire game. But I think the fans at Nebraska, especially because they haven't fielded the best teams in the past decade or so, just the fact that they show up every single game, and not even just the blackout is like that. It's every single game is that wild, and that's definitely a huge advantage. And I think sky's the limit with these next few years. Obviously, going to get Dylan back. Emmett's still got another year, and um, there's a lot of young recruits that are going to come in, and there's a lot of excitement around the program. There is every year. So I think some fans are kind of disappointed that we're not going to make the playoff this season. But if we lower the expectations just a little bit to keep building this culture that Matt Rule's doing, I think we're in a really good spot.
Yeah, and let's talk about Matt Rule in a second. The number, by the way, that's the 409th consecutive sellout at Memorial Stadium, goes back to 1962, longest sellout streak in probably the history of sports.
I believe it is. It's unbelievable.
I mean, I know it is in college football, but I think we can probably expand a little bit on that. But let's talk about Matt Rule, like you mentioned, signed a 2-year extension this week, now through 2032. He already had his contract through 2030, just an additional 2 years, same base pay, but it upped his buyout, I saw, from 5 million to 15 million this year, which prevents him from taking another job in this crazy coaching cycle, right?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the whole situation at Penn State. It's where he played. I think one of his best friends is the AD there. So there was a ton of smoke with them going to Penn State, and rightly so. The guy's an amazing program builder. So I think we were all a little bit worried there for a while, but I mean, that's just a bit of a sigh of relief that we got him to sign that contract. And I really do think he loves it here. He talks about it all the time on his show and in his press conferences. But having Rule here for the long term is going to be huge.
Yeah. And so just back to the Big Ten really quick. You look at Nebraska, I mean, not too difficult of a schedule going down the stretch. Go to UCLA next week, who is all over the place after they fired their coach. They rattled off 3 in a row, beat Penn State at home as like 25-point underdogs. Then bye week at Penn State, who's reeling and doesn't have a coach, and then finish the season. Big one Friday night, the day after Thanksgiving against Iowa. How big of a rivalry is that?
It's huge, man. I mean, moving to the Big Ten, there was already a rivalry. So it's continued to build, and especially with the football program. Iowa's got us bad the past decade. I mean, I don't know what the record is, but it's not very good for Nebraska. And I see it all over Twitter. They'll remind us even during times where we're winning. And then Nebraska fans will hit them with the total record, which would probably be like 80 to 30 in. You could fact check that. That's definitely not true, but we're winning it by a lot. So they talk about living in the past a lot, which is kind of funny because I think we got a good chance to start getting them this year.
I love that. Yeah, I think
Huskers are trending upwards. So I feel like in these upcoming years, you guys will take that
Gonna
upper
get 'em.
back. So
yeah, the Huskers definitely trending upward, and so is the Big Ten as a whole. Obviously, number one Ohio State has just handled everyone the entire season, 38-14 against Penn State this week. But I think the story in college football this season has been Indiana. The Hoosiers look like one of, if not the best college football teams over the last few years. To me, I think Kurt Signetti might be the best coach in America, at least top 2 or 3, and I think he would welcome a debate if anyone disagrees with that. I just love his fire, and that offense is freaking dynamic. Fernando Mendoza is the Heisman frontrunner.
yes, he is. Cal transfer right there.
Really? Wait, yeah, I
Yeah.
knew that.
Transferred from the California Berkeley Bears.
Berkeley guy. You gotta love that. I mean, Berkeley in the ACC now is outrageous, by the way. And well, I think we'll talk about that when we get to hoops, but the cross country trips are ridiculous to me. Miami playing Cal in a conference game on a Friday night. What I mean, what is going on there?
It just doesn't make much sense.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
You like that? I was waiting to drop that in there. That was that was the Taylor Twellman clip. But yeah, let's transition a little bit. I wanted to touch on the game I was at this Saturday, Texas and Vanderbilt. Wild game. I had a crazy day that day too. I was up at like 4:30, 5 a.m. working on the SEC Nation set, which was really cool. Kind of the SEC network version of game day, just right in the middle of UT's campus. But got to meet Tim Tebow and Marty Smith the day prior. And I think Marty Smith is probably the nicest human I think I've ever met in my entire life. Told him that I want to be a broadcaster and was like, immediately, you can do it. You can do it. Great. Great to meet you. Like the coolest dude ever. And Tebow is Tebow, like one of, if not the greatest college football players of all time. But Texas looked like they were running away with this game early, got out to a massive lead. They scored on the first play of the game, immediate turnover by Vanderbilt, field goal. Texas goes up 17-0 in the first quarter, but 34-31 final. Vandy outscores Texas 21-0 in the fourth quarter. But this was an Arch Manning welcome to the show. His best career game by far. He goes 25 for 33 for 328 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. And I think ultimately this was kind of a Sark masterclass.
I mean, I agree. They looked great on offense for most of the game. Obviously, they slowed down a little bit towards the end when Vandy was making that comeback. But I don't know. Texas is kind of a weird team because going into the season, obviously ranked number 1, and they have all the tools and players that they need to be one of the best teams in the country, but they just haven't really put it together yet, I guess. And I don't know. That was a big win. Obviously, Vandy was top 10, so big win at home for the Longhorns for sure.
Yeah, and Vandy dropped 6 spots now to number 15. AP poll came out today. We're recording this on Sunday. But Texas up to number 13 this week. And you look at a team that hadn't looked that dynamic on offense throughout the rest of the year, and they just showed up against a really good and well-coached Vandy team. I got a lot of respect for Clark Lee and what he's done in Nashville. Talking about Vandy and Indiana being college football powerhouses is wild. I mean, we saw game day in Nashville last weekend, but to me, this is a Vanderbilt team that can still make the playoff.
Yeah, I mean, the last couple of years they've shown obviously you can't be losing 3 games and make the playoff. That was the precedent last year. So if both of those teams can win out, there's no reason that both of them shouldn't be in.
I think Pavia, he's got the swagger to do it. I mean, if you wear number 2 and you outwardly say that Manziel's your idol, you got to have some swagger to you, but he's got it. I mean, it can definitely rub people the wrong way, but I mean, he's balling, man. I think that they definitely got a shot.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Diego Pavia, and I think people are saying that he's somehow out of the Heisman conversation now. I don't really understand how that's possible. A 3-point road loss to Texas, and their only other loss this season was at Alabama. Those are 2 top 13 teams now. And you compare their schedules the rest of the way, Vandy's got it much easier than Texas. Vandy has Auburn at home next week, who hasn't been great the last few weeks. Then they have another bye week. They host Kentucky, who had a 10-3 win this weekend in kind of a slugfest that was weird. And
10 game.
yeah, and then they go to Tennessee. So, and Tennessee had a really cool blackout on Saturday night as well. They
did.
they turned off the lights and split the tee. Did you see that?
That was awesome.
Yeah, shout out to the
Neyland
Vault.
Stadium gets bumping.
Yeah, you've been there. How crazy is that place?
I've been to some pretty cool sporting events live, and I was definitely up there. So Neyland Stadium definitely gets bumping, and that place is wild. Love Knoxville.
Yeah, back to this Texas team really quick. I mean, they can't afford to lose another game either, and the rest of their schedule, they have a bye week now, but then they have to go to Georgia. Number 5, Georgia, one of the toughest places to play in the country in Athens. They get kind of a freebie with Arkansas at home, but then they have A&M to finish the season, the number 3 team in the country. You're telling me Texas is going to sweep A&M and Georgia when they have to go to Athens? I think Vanderbilt might end up getting into the playoff over this Texas team.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. Honestly, you hit it right on the nose. I mean, going to Georgia and then finishing the year with A&M, those are 2 slugfest of games, and they're gonna have to grind both of those out if they want a chance to win them. So, and like I was saying earlier, if you lose 3 games, it's tough to get into that 12-team playoff. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so just to finish up really quick on the SEC, I saw some people thinking about potentially 5 SEC teams getting into the playoff. I don't necessarily think 5. I think 4 is pretty realistic, but Texas A&M rather and Alabama seem inevitable at this point. They're both 5-0 in conference. And then Georgia and Ole Miss are both 5-1, and Ole Miss looks really good. And Lane Kiffin's one of the best coaches in the country.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin's another guy that he's been making some headlines recently, but I don't know. He definitely could rub people the wrong way, but I like his vibe, and yeah, that Ole Miss team has looked pretty damn good. So don't sleep on them either.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of what Lane Kiffin's doing in Oxford, and there's so many coaching rumors about him going elsewhere. We're not here to speculate and do all the BS, but he said how happy he is there. And Sam, you talked about it the same with Matt Rule. Is there really that much better of a job out there than Mississippi? Is Florida really a better job? Arkansas really a better job? Like, you're telling me that he
How
has a
about
better
LSU?
chance? You're telling me that he has a better chance to win a national title at those schools than he does at Mississippi? Maybe at LSU, like you said, but I don't see him leaving.
I mean, you got to think about all the things you got to reset when you go to a new program. I mean, these coaches have to be best friends with the donors now and try to get all that NIL money in. And then you go to a new school and you got to make all these new relationships, do all that, which is one of the biggest parts of coaching right now. So it's just a completely different thing, I think, with changing schools now. And if you're in a good spot and you're winning a lot of games and really are contenders, I don't see any reason you'd want to leave, to be completely honest.
I'm with you, and obviously you have better insight to that than most, but these coaching vacancies are wild, especially in the SEC, and everybody's just firing everybody. We mentioned UCLA too, and Penn State. I mean, James Franklin was hosting game day as the number 2 team in the country, 3-0, and was then on game day 3 weeks later out of a job.
That's wild.
Insane. And by the way, after he went on game day, that secured his entire $90 million buyout. Because all he had to do was, quote, pursue a job in coaching or broadcasting. One appearance on game day is pursuing a job in broadcasting. Here's $90 million to sit on your couch for the rest of the season. The best job in the world is a fired college football coach.
Yeah. I mean, if you're making $90 million for sitting on the couch, please and thank you. I'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah. College football, I think it's been a great season and very excited this week. There's a lot of great games, but let's go touch on the World Series a little before we get to college basketball. I feel like we got to talk about Game 7 last night, Krez, and how special MVP Yoshinobu Yamamoto's performance was. Game 2, complete game, 9 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 8 strikeouts, no walks, throws 105 pitches. Then starts Game 6, goes 6, gives up 1, 6 strikeouts, throws 96 pitches, and then throws the next night. He went 3-0 in the World Series. He had 3 out of the 4 wins. How ridiculous is that?
That's absolutely insane. And he should have won the MVP as he did. And I mean, I was hearing the broadcasters last night say the Dodgers rotation in that World Series cost over $1 billion. And the Blue Jays honestly made their starting rotation not look that great other than Yamamoto. And Yamamoto just diced him up every single time he was out there. And I don't know, when he came into the game last night and the Dodgers tied it back up, I was really just thinking to myself, I don't see the Blue Jays winning this anymore with him on the mound. So yeah, pretty crazy performance from him, that's for sure.
Can you kind of, I'm not a big baseball guy. Can you kind of like dive into why he was so special? I mean, I was watching, but just as a baseball guy yourself, like what makes him so good?
I mean, yeah, I think that to myself too when I'm watching him because like he throws pretty hard, like 97, 98 on his fastball. But I think what stands out to me the most is just how much control and how accurate he is with all his pitches. I mean, he literally can throw any pitch at any time and put it where he wants to. And I know personally from facing pitchers that have been able to do that, it's just not an easy at bat. You got to go up there, and most hitters at that level are sitting on a certain pitch. And if they don't get it, they're not going to have any chance at hitting someone that good. So I don't know, just his ability to mix everything up and, like I said, throw any pitch at any time. It's pretty special what he was doing out there.
Yeah, and I saw a couple people have to eat their takes on Twitter when he got I think it was 10 years, $325 million contract before throwing a pitch in Major League Baseball. He earned every single dollar of it last night.
Every penny.
That's all that matters. They've won back-to-back titles. They're the best team in baseball. And sure, you can be mad about the payroll and how they're buying as much as they can, but what are they doing wrong? They're spending money and getting the best players in the world. I think a lot of people are kind of jealous, as I am as a Mariner fan, that they're actually spending as much money as possible. And by the way, that number just last night, Krez, the Dodgers threw $1.2 billion worth of pitching. Just last
Yeah, their whole rotation pitched last night.
Their entire starting rotation.
Mm-hmm. Insane.
In one game. And,
Never happened.
I don't think that's ever happened in a World Series game.
I can't remember it happening. Well, and you look at the Blue Jays, they pretty much threw their whole rotation too. Shane Bieber ended up getting the loss. And I want to give Trey Savage some love. Trey Savage has made 3 regular season starts in his career. I looked it up today. He is 5 months to the day younger than me. He's 22 years old. Started this season in A-ball in Florida, played in for all 5 Blue Jays affiliates this season, including the big league club, and made 6 postseason starts. And he started game 1 of the World Series as a 22-year-old. And then in game 5, he goes 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 12 strikeouts against the best lineup probably ever assembled, no walks. This kid is so special, and the Blue Jays need to lock him up.
Yeah, I would very much agree. That's the splitter or sinker that he has. That's one of the most disgusting pitches I've ever seen. And yeah, like you said, just being that young and being able to go out there and not have the moment be too big for him, it's pretty impressive. And yeah, I agree. They got to lock that guy up right now.
Yeah, and I saw an article about the splitter, and it is a Kevin Gausman taught splitter. I think Kevin Gausman kind of has the best splitter in baseball, is a consensus about Kevin Gausman. And he actually taught it to Logan Gilbert as well, who is kind of has the consensus second best splitter in baseball. But here I can kind of show you here. I'll take the ball here, but it's a split change. So instead of like your traditional changeup grip where you're showing the circle on the side of the baseball, these guys are keeping the circle here, but they're splitting the ball between their middle finger and their ring finger I mean, I can't even do it because my hands aren't big enough, but like they still have the circle over here. And the arm side run on it is just outrageous. I don't know how you hit it. As a hitter, Krez, what is the approach to hitting that?
Don't swing at it. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't think, obviously, I've never seen a splitter that good, but it's a tough pitch to hit. Obviously, the changeup, in my opinion, is the best pitch in baseball, but the splitter's right there with it. I mean, it kind of has the same action to it, and if you can control it and throw it as well as those guys, I'd stick with it as much as I possibly could. Stay away from that fastball. Best thing to do on the mound is not throw straight balls, and that's what they're doing out there. So
Yeah, and I think, we've mentioned a couple guys that flew under the radar maybe during the regular season. And on top of that, it was the 9-hitter for the Dodgers that tied it in the 9th, Miguel Rojas, who had really struggled in the postseason. And then Will Smith, obviously one of the best catchers in baseball, but he hadn't had a ridiculously good postseason and comes up in the 11th and does it himself. One guy that is noteworthy, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., I want to give him his flowers too. These are Vladdy's playoff numbers. In 18 games, he went 29 for 73. That's a 397 batting average, 8 homers, 5 doubles. He was walked 20 times, only struck out 7 times, and his OPS was just shy of 1,300.
that dude was on another planet.
I saw him go yard in Seattle when the Jays were playing the Mariners, and it just looked like he was so locked in.
Hey, he was the whole playoffs, and even was last night. He doubled off Yamamoto in the 11th, gave the Blue Jays a chance. I don't know. Oh, Mounds, I wanted to ask you this. What were your thoughts on that first and third situation, 1 out? I was thinking squeeze in my head.
In what inning?
The 11th.
Oh, yeah. The squeeze. I love the squeeze personally. And, we come from the West Coast baseball background, but I don't love bunting as a premise. I think that it's completely different in the postseason, obviously different once you get past the 9th inning. I love the suicide squeeze and
Yeah.
even a safety squeeze. But the thing with the suicide squeeze, it's impossible to defend. If you get the bunt down, it's a run 100% of the time. And if you don't, it's an out.
Yeah, I don't know. With Kirk up there too, being one of the slower guys on that team, maybe even in the league, if he hits a ball on the ground, the game's over. And I don't know. With a runner on third there needing a run, I don't like to take the bat out of guys' hands, but hey, I mean, I thought the squeeze might have been the move there personally.
He is the slowest guy in baseball by sprint speed, by the way.
There you go.
But overall, I think that might have been one of the best World Series ever. And also, just to kind of wrap up on it, how cool was it that the bench is cleared in Game 7 of the World Series?
I loved it.
The fire. I mean, that was
They were about to get it going.
yeah, that ruled. And also, how about in the ninth, the move by Dave Roberts, when he goes to the bullpen, he does a defensive sub mid-inning, which I haven't seen this year in the bigs at all. Puts in Pajes for Tommy Edman in center field, and it's Pajes that saves the game with that catch on the warning track.
I was gonna say that was probably the biggest play other than the Rojas homer. I'd say that was a crazy move from Robert. I mean, it paid off for him. So whatever
Dude, whose
works.
ball was that?
Who knows? I mean, they probably couldn't hear each other just because of how loud it was. But hey, the ball was caught, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, the Rogers Center looked like it was really rocking last night. All right, well, let's switch over to college basketball. Before we switch to college basketball, episode 1 of the sports section is brought to you by ourselves. The sports section's first official line of merchandise is now available. We've got everything you need to rep your new favorite podcast. Premium branded t-shirts, hoodies, crew necks, polos, and my personal favorite, the navy blue trucker hat, are now available to shop at sportssectionpod-shop.fourthwall.com or through the link in the description or all of our social media bios. All proceeds will go directly back into the show. So shop the collection now to support the continued creation of the sports section. And now let's do college basketball. Sammy Hoibs, this episode will come out on Tuesday, so you will have already played this game, but opening night tomorrow at the bank. Got West Georgia coming into town. You fired up?
Yeah, man. I mean, this is my last go at it. Gonna leave absolutely everything on the line. I really do not want to leave this place without a tournament win. Obviously, that's the biggest thing as Nebraska basketball players. We're the only Power 5 team to have never won a tournament game. And this is my last chance, man. I mean, I live with Rink Mast. It's his last chance as well. And we've been talking about it since he's got here for 3 years. And we got a really good squad. So I think we are going to have a real chance at it, but definitely not going to leave anything on the line. And West Georgia, a bit of a inferior opponent, not any disrespect to them, but something you got to just handle like any other game. It can't have any other kind of thought process going in, which I really like about our team this year is I feel like everyone just, we go about our business the same every single time. Doesn't matter if we're playing against a team like BYU or the NAI school of Midland that we just played a couple days ago. But yeah, just got to handle our business tomorrow and get off to a good start.
I love it. And I want to talk about that BYU game. Played the preseason number 8 team in the country, and I'm not a fan of preseason rankings at all, but BYU is a massive storyline. You guys beat them 90-89 in an exhibition. I mean, look at the box score of that game. One name stands out, Rank Mass.
Yeah, I mean he hadn't played a actual basketball game since our March Madness game in 2023 or 24, sorry. So it had been about 16 months, and he comes out and goes 7 of 8 from 3, has more points than AJ DeBanza, who's going to be a top 3 pick next year, and we knock off number 8. I mean, he was unbelievable. And he's really the centerpiece to our team. And what we were missing last year, I think, to really be a tournament team. So hopefully this year we can use him and go as far as possible.
31 points, 11 of 15 from the field, 7 for 8 from downtown for Rank Mass. You had you took a shot, had 5, and you got to guard AJ DeBanza, right?
I did, yeah. So started the game, I was on Richie Saunders. He was all Big 12 last year. Obviously, I'm not the tallest guy, so they didn't start me on the 6'9" top 3 draft pick, but he was going crazy. And our assistant coach who kind of runs our defense, he asked me and the other point guards, Marcus Lawrence, said, who wants to guard him? And I was like, I got him. I'll take him. And he saw me first play. This happens all the time. I'm not offended by it, but he kind of like shrugged it off and started calling for the ball. And I just got up in his grill. He couldn't make a play out of it. And then he tried to ISO me the next possession, completely bodied him up and made him take a terrible shot. So I didn't get a ton of action on him in ISOs, but he was 0 for 2 on me. So I'll take that.
It's that gritty
We're
defense.
the Sam Hoiberg, Big Ten All Defensive Team propaganda right here, by the way.
Let's
Gotta
start the
have.
narrative.
I'm all for that. Let's go.
We're in the media now, so we can push that narrative. Yeah. DeBonsa did finish that game with 30 points in 32 minutes, 10 of 19 from the field, picked up most of his points to the line, 10 for 10, had 7 rebounds. Were you impressed with the number one recruit in the nation, who, by the way, is the highest paid college athlete of all time? He's getting $7 million this season.
Making more than double our roster. But yes, he's as advertised. Freak athlete, really skilled. He elevates really high in his jump shot, so it's hard to contest. But it's one of those guys where you just got to force him into tough twos, and we were able to do that a bit at the end there. But yeah, he's some, like, people get really upset at the guys shooting all these free throws, but when you're tough to guard, you get to the line because people can't guard you and they foul you. Like Shea, no one can guard him, and he just gets to the line because they have to foul to not let him score. And he showed a lot of that. BYU runs a lot of really good stuff. They come from or Kevin Young comes from the NBA, so he runs a lot of really good things and got some good looks for him. But he's gonna have a really good year, and I definitely see him being top 3 pick, no question.
Question, Sam. What's the mindset going into that, like, defensively? Like, what's your coaching staff harping on when you go up against a guy like that? Because obviously, if you're trying to guard him one-on-one, it's going to be a tough night. So, what's the plan for that guy?
Yeah, so we have a very kind of unique defensive system. We force baseline, and we have a lot of help. Just because we're not the most athletic team, not everyone's gonna be able to stay in front of these super athletic guys we play. So we really try to force it to the help, and then we rotate based off of that. So a lot of it is just, making sure we guard the actions really well so they can't get wide open looks, and then just having a second defender there to really stop them on drives and just make them take tough twos. Like, you want them to take as many mid-range shots as possible. And then, like, when I was guarding him at the end of the game, my whole thing was just make him uncomfortable. I'm obviously a lot shorter, so I can kind of get up in his grill a little bit where he's dribbling. And I think that can kind of bother guys at times. But yeah, I mean, he's a freak athlete, so he's going to get by guys, but we always have a help defender there. And if we rotate correctly, we can stop a lot of things. But obviously, BYU did do some things to where they got really good looks, and that's why I had 30 points on us.
What's the Seahawks score in your background over there?
21-0.
Hawks?
Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah.
How'd that happen? Do you know?
I haven't been watching. I just looked back and saw 21-0.
Holy smokes! Look at the Hawks, man. Sammy D and the boys.
We got big news on my end here. I'm 4-4 in fantasy, going up against the rank master, who's 8-0.
Whoa!
Sam Darnold's got 17 in the second quarter. He's got 91. He's only got 2 players left. We're gonna take down the undefeated.
Come on, baby.
Let's go. I
Pick up
love
Sam
it.
Darnold today, by the way. That was a good pickup.
Sammy D.
I got him on my bench. I'm probably gonna lose to Pathic this week, unless JSN goes nuts for me, which I think he might be the best receiver in the NFL. We can talk about that on another episode. I've had the most unlucky fantasy season, and I know that everyone in my league that is going to be listening to this is just going to smoke me for it. But I get like 150 dropped on me every single week. You should see what your brother's Team Corn did to me last week. It was outrageous. He had like 160. It doesn't matter how many points I score. I
That's
think,
not the recipe for success in fantasy.
dude, through 5 weeks in our league, I was the highest scoring team in the league, and I was 1-4, and now I'm 2 and whatever.
I want to I don't know if this makes me the most unlucky or just the worst fantasy manager of all time, but I'm just going to go through me in playing Justin Fields versus benching him this season. All right. Week 1, didn't play him, 29 for Justin Fields on my bench. Week 2, played him, 3.98. Week 3, he didn't play. Week 4, didn't play him, 27. Week 5, played him, he had 25. This is the only good week for me. Week 6 played him 4 points. Week 7 played him 4 points. Week 8 didn't play him. He was on another team. He had 23.
Somebody else picked him up.
Someone else picked him. I dropped him. I was done. He had 4 points 2 weeks in a row. Every time I played him, he was below 5, other than 1 week. And when he was on my bench, he goes nuts. Is that a me thing, or is that unlucky?
I think it sounds like he just doesn't want to play for your
I'm a
team.
bad manager. Or my league's been saying I'm just a bad fantasy football manager, but
Well, do you
Sounds
think
like he
it's
has
a locker
something personal against you.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
do you
sorry,
think it's a
Gus. I
locker
think
room
it's just
problem?
me. I think when I play him, he just has bad weeks. It might be my fault.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah. What's going on in your locker room? Like, who do you have any leaders in there?
I think picking up Sam Darnold was a big thing for me this week.
That's a glue guy right there.
Yep. Brock Bowers didn't show up until today when I picked up Sammy D. So something's going on there.
Did Bowers have 2 touchdowns today?
3,
3?
43 points from the kid.
Gino almost brought the boys all the way back. They went for 2 at the end of overtime.
That was tough.
How funny would it be if the Raiders just had a tie on their record, though?
Hey, it's better than a loss.
It is. We're seeing that too. The Packers now.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to get him a higher seed in the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%. All right, back to college hoops. We were talking about AJ DeBonsa, but Sam, so I saw Spencer Hawes shoot at like just an open gym one time, shoot around. And people say it sometimes, but I feel like the general public doesn't realize how good of shooters those guys are. And like those NBA caliber guys where they don't miss, like they'll make 40, 50 in a row. You'll see Steph Curry make 95 out of 100. But you guys against BYU, 50% from the field, 47% from 3. How good of a shooting team is this? I know you guys got Price Sanford now.
Yeah, I mean, we got everyone on the make a 3. That's kind of what we looked for in the portal this season, because last year we were not a great shooting team. And it really hurt our offense. The floor wasn't spread. Our bigs weren't shooters, which obviously is very helpful when you run the 5-out system like we do. But yeah, our main thing was we had to get shooters, and we did that. I mean, Jamarcus Lawrence, he came back. He went to Rhode Island last year. He'd been playing for us his first 2 years. He shot 40% from 3 last year. Price shot 42. Connor was already here. I mean, he's one of the best shooters in the league. Kendall Blue shot 42 at St. Thomas. Rick obviously can shoot. I can shoot. I mean, literally everyone we're going to play this year is able to make a 3, and we're going to let it fly. I think we shot, this is probably too many against the NAI team. I think we shot 46 threes, which is the most by any Fred Hoiberg team, which is kind of wild because that's kind of what he's known for with his teams. But yeah, we're definitely going to let it fly, live and die by the 3. It's going to be fun to watch, 100%.
Yeah, so with that shooting aspect, playing for your dad, him being one of the greatest shooters in recent NBA memory, how much of like the technical shooting aspect is he coaching in practice?
I mean, I think a lot of these guys have already, worked on their shot enough. Like Price, you don't really coach him up on his shot other than little things. I mean, I think that's what he's so good at, is just small things. And he helps me with it all the time, but he'll notice your balance being off, or maybe you're reaching for the ball too much or not reaching for it enough. And he'll notice these tiny things you don't really notice or make you miss. And he'll tell you to work on it, shoot with you after practice. And if you're not shooting well, he'll fix it really quickly. I think that's he doesn't teach you like the way to shoot, but he just is little fixer uppers is kind of what I describe it as. And it makes a huge difference having that, because you can make a big habit out of them. If you go, shoot 1,000 shots in the gun with that bad habit, and then you just go into a slump or something. So he'll catch that in practice, and it'll really fix you quickly. It's just having that from your coach is so important, and it's obviously very, very helpful.
Krez, who did you have winning your bracket last year?
The Florida Gators.
Yeah, so I had the Florida Gators as well last year, but I think what kind of broke everyone in the bracket sense, at least, was 4 1 seeds in the Final Four. First time that has happened since '06, I believe, and or since '08, excuse me. Florida wins a great national title game, 65-63 over Houston, their third national title in school history. But even looking at the teams that made it to the third week of the tournament into those regional final four games, 3-2 seeds, 1-3 seed that was Texas Tech, I believe, but Michigan State, Alabama, Tennessee were the 2 seeds, and then Florida, Houston, Auburn, and Duke, the 4-1 seeds. Sam, your perspective, I feel like last year might have been kind of the first year that NIL really hit college basketball hard. And it might be kind of tough for those mid-major schools that might be able to shoot the lights out on any given day and, hang 100 on a team and kind of get lucky sometimes, not to talk down on mid-majors in the slightest, but do you think that it's gotten a lot harder for those upset wins to happen?
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously it was a very chalky tournament last year, but like you said, it happened in '08 as well. So it could have just been the year. And I do think NIL has a factor with, you have I mean, honestly, I think the biggest factor is there's so many old guys in college basketball right now. And when you have a good season at a mid-major, you're going to look to transfer to a higher school and make more money. So I think the NIL is really making a difference with that. I mean, hopefully with the COVID thing kind of being done now, just because all those guys have graduated and finished their eligibility, that'll be less of a problem with having, 25-year-olds playing against 18-year-olds. But yeah, I think it's just really hard to, build a program and to keep your guys year by year, which is, I think a lot of those mid majors are able to become so good because they were able to keep those guys and just be so good in their system to where they can outplay some more talented teams. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't think we can kind of mark that off already, but if it happens again and is kind of a trend, I think you can kind of put the blame a bit on NIL for that, just because these guys that are really good players, there's not a whole lot of reason to stay at a mid-major if you're not making as much money. You want to go to a bigger school and, you know, set yourself up for a few years in your life, and you can't blame them.
Yeah, and you mentioned that a little bit too, because the transfer portal in college basketball has gotten, I don't know if outrageous is necessarily the word because
That's a
guys
fair
are
word.
they're taking opportunities that are given to them, but it's turned into chaos. I mean, when you look at this year, Andy Katz has a laundry list of impact transfers that you haven't seen in past years. Specifically, I look at a guy like PJ Haggerty that we saw at TCU 3 years ago now on his fourth school in 4 years. And coming off of an incredible season at Memphis, he's going to Kansas State, but goes TCU, Tulsa, Memphis, then was a second team All American last year and the AAC player of the year, had almost 22 points a game. And now he's going to the Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just so interesting that you can play at four different schools and not have to sit out at all. I mean, they used to have it to where you had to sit out a year if you transferred once. So I would like to see that come back into college basketball. I mean, maybe it doesn't have to be the first transfer, but if you transfer a second time, you're gonna have to pay some sort of consequence because it's such a free for all right now, and it doesn't make it easier on anybody. And I think a lot of the time it can be worse for the kid. Um, they just kind of get used to feeling like if something's not going right, they can just leave, and they get that mindset early on in the season, and they're just set on it by the time the year ends, and you don't just grind it out, uh, which is like what I did. I mean, obviously, I'm in a completely different situation playing for my dad, but like I am now the longest tenured player for him of all time, my fifth year here. Um, but if I had just jumped ship early on, and I would have never had the chance to play because of injuries, I would not be where I am today. So I think a lot of kids just aren't grinding through situations where you can learn the system better and become a better player for your team, which is so helpful to playing minutes. And that's why I play so many minutes, is because I just know our system so well and can be in the right spot and just help winning. So I think a lot of kids just they want to leave early if they're not getting their playing time and they don't really grind through it. which they should be doing, and that'll probably be more beneficial for him. But hopefully they can get some sort of you know ground rules set out to where there may be a consequence for transferring more than one time or something like that.
And speaking of being a coach's son, we mentioned Auburn a little bit earlier. Bruce Pearl out at Auburn. He's going to run for the Senate, I believe. But his son, Stephen Pearl, taking over. How do you feel like that transition looks like? I mean, he's obviously been on staff at Auburn for a couple of years, but that's a big change.
Yeah, no question. That's going to be an interesting conversation in a few years because I believe Kelvin Sampson at Houston's doing the same thing with his son. But if the kids can do a good job, I'll be pretty happy because maybe Charlie could get the reins
Yeah.
years down the line. Here, I mean that is super unrealistic as of now, at least. But it's going to be really interesting because those coaches have built such a big like name for themselves, and they have their styles that it's probably going to be different when their sons come on. I mean, I don't know how similar Bruce Pearl's kid is to him, but it's going to be a completely different situation, and I'm sure that he'll still help oversee and stuff. But if he's working for the Senate, he won't be able to be there that much. So it'll be very interesting to see how that goes. And I mean, I have no idea what it'll be like.
Yeah, it definitely poses an interesting dynamic. And you mentioned Kelvin Sampson, another one of those, Rick Pitino. Richard Pitino had an incredible season. Not that he does not deserve it. New Mexico was outstanding last year, but Richard now takes the job at Xavier, which Sean Miller left vacant because Rodney Terry got fired at Texas, and now Miller is taking the Texas job.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a free for all in the coaching carousel too. So you can't blame the kids that want to transfer too. I think that's kind of been a point made by other people in the media too. But you see coaches changing a lot now too, and I think NIL is probably part of that as well. Texas has probably got a huge backing compared to Xavier, so it'll be really really interesting to see just the way it plays out. And I'm sure that in the coming years there'll be more regulations with NIL just to make it less of kind of the Wild West it is right now. But right now it really is a free for all.
Yeah, and I mean there obviously are a little bit of like regulations kind of coming in with NIL, and it'll be interesting rather to see how that impacts college hoops. Krez, I wanted to hear your thoughts on the Big Ten. I know that we've kind of watched a good amount of Big Ten and Big 12 basketball, but the Big Ten went 8-0 in the first weekend of the tournament last year with an average margin of victory of 22 points. You look at a traditional powerhouse like the ACC, they only had one team get out of the first weekend, and that was the one seed Duke.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it right on the head there. I feel like the Big Ten always makes noise in the tournament, but I always feel like the Big Ten teams come to play, and obviously there's three in the preseason top 15 this year with Purdue and Michigan and UCLA as well, which should all be good clubs, and the Huskers are there too, so looking to make some noise and get their first tournament win. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, I mean Purdue being the number one team, they're gonna have a target on their back, and everyone's gonna be hunting them down. So I don't see that sticking throughout the season. Obviously, they got a good squad, but I think the Huskers will take them.
We got them at home this year, which last time we had them at home, we upset them, which is still my favorite memory in my basketball career. So
Let's
they're
do it
they're
again
kind of
this
a good
year,
squad
baby.
this year.
Come
Yeah, I
on
mean
now.
this is gonna be a really exciting year. We're gonna play a fun brand of basketball, and I mean, this is as confident as I've been in a team since I've been here. So I don't want to get the hype too high and then let anyone down, but I really do think we got a chance to be something special.
Make a little run in March.
Plan.
And so we talked about it a little bit at the top, kind of the travel schedule with conference realignment. You being in that exact schedule, Sam, you're going from Lincoln potentially all the way up to Seattle to play Washington, and then all the way east to College Park, Maryland. What's that travel schedule like, especially as a student during the week?
Yeah, school becomes a bit of an afterthought. I know my professors aren't happy to hear that, but uh, it's definitely it's basketball season, and when you go which is nice because we kind of plan those trips out to where we'll go play Washington and Oregon on the same trip. I believe we play UCLA and USC, so we have an LA trip this year, so we'll be there the whole time. But honestly, being in Nebraska is an advantage because we don't have to go nearly as far. If you're Rutgers, you got to go all the way to LA, which is, 4-hour flight at least. And we're just in the middle, so ours is never too long of a flight, which is very, very nice. But yeah, it's just so interesting that like you can go play on a 5-hour flight on a Tuesday night and then have to come back and play in the Eastern time zone at 12 a.m. on a Saturday or something. So it's really wild now with this new alignment.
That is crazy. And Sam, that's such a good point. I never really even thought about that. Being in Nebraska has got to be a huge advantage. Like you said, it cuts down the flight time a ton. And just being right in the middle, like you said, you don't have to go from West Coast to East Coast to West Coast, vice versa, That's got to be a huge advantage for you guys. So that's nice.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time. We would just, a lot of times, like we charter flights, but there's always something that goes wrong and you got to sit on the runway for at least an hour. It seems like every single time. So if you're doing that and then you have a 5-hour flight and then you got to go play, it just, oh man, I would not want to do that.
Yeah, the travel schedule have definitely gotten a little bit outrageous. I want to kind of look at your guys' schedule a little bit. I know you guys have a couple fun games in Kansas City, right?
Yeah, we play. Honestly, I haven't looked that far ahead yet. So focused on West Georgia.
I love it.
We play in South Dakota at the Pentagon, which is always an amazing environment. It's almost like a home game for us, but it counts neutral. So playing Oklahoma should probably be a quad one opportunity, which is an amazing thing for building your resume that early. And it feels like a home game. So that'll be a really fun one. I think that's our 4th game of the season. And then it's New Mexico, Kansas State, and Mississippi State, just a 4-team tournament in Kansas City. So another opportunity to get some high majors on the schedule and hopefully get some more wins.
Yeah, those RPI boost quad 1, quad 2 games have become such a mainstay in the narrative around tournament teams. We saw North Carolina get in controversially last year, but when you play so many good teams, it's tough to discount teams for losing those games sometimes.
Yeah, it's not their fault for getting a tough schedule, right?
No, it plays to your benefit. And I know we talk about that in college baseball a little bit too, Krez, where like you can play a couple SEC teams and your RPI is good for the rest of the year.
100%.
Yeah. Very excited for the Huskers. Good luck tomorrow, Sammy. You guys got any final thoughts?
No, good pod, fellas. Happy to be starting here. Obviously, a little bit scuffed at the beginning there, but I'm excited for this.
Really excited to continue this podcast with you. Good episode 1, fellas. Congrats. We got one done. Good for us.
And we got an hour down too.
We're in the books.
We're looking good. I'm excited for this. This episode will come out Tuesday, 9 a.m. Eastern. So if you're listening to this, the next episode will be me and Krez on Friday. Sam joins us every single Tuesday for College Hoops. And I think that's going to do it. Follow us on the socials at Sports Section Pod, and a reminder to check out the merch shop. I think that's going to do it. Subscribe and
call God, baby.
see you guys.